Welcome to this explainer. Okay, be honest. Have you ever sat through a mind-numbing corporate seminar just staring at the clock wondering, why am I even here? Well, today we're going to flip the script on that. We are uncovering how training and development is no longer just some dry HR checkbox that you tick once a year. In our rapidly shifting business landscape, it's actually the ultimate strategic toolkit for survival. Think about it. As business practices evolve, the skills that got you here absolutely won't keep you here. So let's dive into exactly how the most successful organizations keep their teams sharp, adaptable, and ready for whatever comes next.
To survive today's fierce competition, just hiring good people, that doesn't cut it anymore. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at Section 1, the investment in human capital, followed by training versus development, why organizations train, the 6-step process, how we actually learn, and we'll wrap up with the digital learning culture. Let's get into it.
Let's start with a quote directly from our source material that really hits the nail on the head. Today, training is not viewed as an expense, but as an investment in human capital. For the longest time, training was just a line item, right? Seen purely as a cost. But modern organizations have realized that viewing learning as an expense is a total trap. It's an investment. When you invest in well-trained employees, they make fewer mistakes, they provide way better customer service, and they adapt faster. Seriously, think of it this way. What happens if you don't train them and they decide to stay? Yeah, it's an investment that pays massive dividends.
Moving into Section 1, the investment in human capital. Let's look at why this is a strategic necessity.
The source material makes a great point here. Organizations today are basically operating in a pressure cooker. Look at these 4 dynamic pressures. We've got rapid technological advancements. Just look at how fast AI is completely rewiring everyday workflows. Then there's globalization, bringing competitors from literally all over the world right to your doorstep. On top of that, customer expectations are constantly shifting, and overall competition is just increasing across the board. Because of these factors, just recruiting competent people is no longer enough. If your team isn't continuously learning, your organization is going to go the way of the dinosaur.
Okay, Section 2, training versus development. These are really the 2 main gears of our engine.
So let's break this down, starting with training. This is a highly systematic process, and it's meant to improve exactly what an employee needs for a specific current job. Training focuses heavily on the present. It's all about giving your people exactly what they need right now to perform their current responsibilities more efficiently. Simply put, training teaches you how to do the job you have today better.
Development, on the other hand, is much broader. It isn't about today at all. It is entirely focused on the future. Development is this long-term educational process aimed at preparing employees for upcoming roles. We're talking about enhancing managerial, leadership, conceptual, and decision-making abilities. It's about building the leaders of tomorrow and making sure the organization actually has the continuity it needs to survive the long haul.
If we put them side by side, the contrast is super clear. Think of training as your short-term toolkit. It's highly focused on technical and operational skills, and it's for everyone, from the ground floor up. Development is more like a mentor guiding your continuous, long-term career evolution. It targets future growth, heavily emphasizes leadership, and is primarily aimed at managerial and high-potential folks. Both are absolutely crucial, but they pull very different levers within a company.
That brings us to Section 3, why organizations train. Let's look at the real-world triggers. Think about the last time your company rolled out a new software platform, or maybe launched a brand new product. It probably felt a little chaotic until everyone got up to speed, right? Well, everyday business events, whether a new employee joins, performance slips a bit, someone gets a promotion, or new government regulations drop, these instantly create a gap. A gap between the skills your team currently has and the skills they actually need to succeed.
And because those triggers are literally happening all the time, adaptation has to be a constant state of being. Training cannot just be some one-and-done event. It demands continuous organizational activity to keep the workforce sharp, confident, and motivated. Once a company really grasps this concept, their entire approach to human resources completely transforms.
All right, Section 4, the 6-step process. Let's talk about how to actually execute this strategy. Imagine a company launching a brand new product line. To close their skill gaps, they can't just toss a dusty 300-page manual at their team and hope for the best. They have to methodically follow a 6-step process. Step 1, identify the exact needs. What's the gap between current and expected performance? Step 2, set clear objectives for the expected behavioral changes. Step 3, design the program itself, the content, the trainers, the timeline. Step 4 is actually conducting the training. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Step 5 is evaluating its effectiveness. Did the knowledge actually stick? And crucially, Step 6, providing follow-up support on the floor to ensure the team can actually apply what they learned. Every single stage is vital to making the investment work.
Moving on to Section 5, how we actually learn. Once you have a process, how do you deliver the knowledge?
When it comes to delivery, it's a classic trade-off. On one hand, you've got on-the-job training, things like coaching, mentoring, and job rotation. The huge advantage here is immediate practical application, and it's usually cheaper. But the downside? You might see some costly errors while the person is learning on live tasks. On the flip side, we have off-the-job training. Think classroom lectures, workshops, or e-learning. The big plus here is highly structured learning, safely away from workplace pressures. The trade-off, though, is higher costs and taking the employee away from their daily work. Organizations really have to weigh these options to match their specific goals.
And finally, Section 6, the digital learning culture. This is where the future of HR is heading.
Looking at the modern landscape, we really have to ask ourselves, how is the digital era fundamentally rewiring this whole educational process? Because time constraints, limited budgets, just trying to keep people engaged, these are classic training headaches, but technology is stepping up to solve them. We're not just stuck in stuffy classrooms anymore. Now we're talking about mobile learning apps you can tap into on your morning commute. We've got AI-assisted platforms that literally adapt to your learning speed and micro-learning modules that give you these perfect bite-sized chunks of knowledge exactly when you need them. These tools are making learning so much more flexible, incredibly accessible, and deeply personalized for every single employee.
Right at the center of this digital transformation is the LMS, the Learning Management System. You can think of it as the digital nervous system for modern organizational learning. It essentially centralizes that entire 6-step process we just talked about. It tracks the needs, delivers the design, hosts the content, and evaluates the effectiveness, all in one streamlined place.
Ultimately, what our source material reveals is this really profound shift in HR thinking. Modern organizations, they don't want to just train you once and be done with it. They want to build a continuous learning culture. They're striving for an environment where you are constantly acquiring new knowledge throughout your entire career. Instead of viewing training as this annoying, occasional interruption, they are pushing for lifelong learning. Why? Because in a business world that changes this fast, an adaptable, constantly learning workforce is literally the only true competitive advantage you have left.
So, as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with this provocative question to evaluate your own workplace. Are you being trained just for today, or is your organization actually building a lifelong culture of development for tomorrow? Take a second to think about how your own skills are being cultivated right now. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and keep learning.